I mean, she liked to squeeze them. That was the main thing.
Oh yeah, it was about this big, wasn't it?
It was even bigger. It was like an elephant.
Hello, I'm Nick Cellophane.
And I'm Pete Trumpiana, and this is Crimesnoop's special report, where we the reporters examine the crimes and ask the questions, and you, the public, grass on your meat at the video shop and give us false leads to crimes which would baffle Columbo and turn his dog sterile. Before we investigate this week's crime, let's have an update on the situation of last week's incident.
If you remember, we reported on the antics of a certain Mr. Peter Fletcher of Rydale School. His despicable acts including asking Melissa Flan for a snog and the malicious writing of the words "Mr. Pugh is a bender" on Lee Fisher's smart new Adidas bag. Well, good news, Mr. Fletcher was caught behind the bike sheds committing some unmentionable acts with Jennifer Winterbottom. Both Miss Winterbottom and the Peeping Tom caretaker are being questioned rigorously by our special unit. And the Community Action Trust cash reward for information leading to Mr. Fletcher's arrest goes to Mr. X of Middlesbrough, who is also being questioned.
Of course, we have to say Mr. X to save Mr. Paul LaFontaine of 20 Oxford Road, Middlesbrough, from a lot of embarrassment. Oh, sorry, just kidding. Sorry, darling.
Right, now for this week's special report, which concerns the antics of a certain Mr. Wayne Clementine and a very strange case of stolen property. Our reconstruction takes place in the area of Fishbrook.
On January the 28th, at 3:03 p.m. precisely, a young man was seen walking down this road carrying a bag. A woman who had seen him noticed that he was in a hurry and that the bag was a black airport carry bag. The young man was apprehended by this plainclothes officer, PC Pongo.
Well, I asked where this shady-looking character was going with his shady-looking bag and, you know, what with it being such a shady-looking day. And he said, I'm taking my pet tarantula Alan to the chemist for a lobotomy, a flatfoot. So I let the shady little get off with a warning and told him he ought to have a blind tarantula permit and suggest that he stock up with some Peruvian chicken's cheese, which works wonders for my woodlice. But as he walked away, I received a call from headquarters informing me that a mysterious orange thief was heading my general direction and could be identified by the black bag. I put two and two together, and 4 hours later, I was on his trail. The trail led to a shady hideout.
The flatfoot peeler barged in and nabbed Clementine at the climax of his orange napping spree.
Ho! This is a riot! Yes, I've been hoodwinked.
Pongo locked the culprit and the oranges away in a room and went to fetch his colleague, PC Quaid, who was the nearest police officer in the vicinity.
WPC Quaid, follow me.
During those next 5 minutes, no one ever found out what the culprit was doing while the officer was away. However, his next-door neighbour, a Mrs. Bat, claimed she heard her neighbour talking, but no one was with him at the time. Clementine's psychological profile showed him to be reasonably well-balanced, and therefore we can eliminate schizophrenia.
Is that relevant?
No, and it pads the programme up. After a short period of time, officers Pongo and Quaid returned to find that the evidence had completely disappeared, and as his psychological file showed him to be a bit thick, we can eliminate the possibility of him even inventing a matter transporter and beaming the oranges away.
That's not relevant either.
No, but it's interesting. After a sleepless night and a mud wrestle with the slide rule, our top detectives came up with the following theories. Number 1, Wayne Clementine hid the oranges in some part of the room. Number 2, he fed them to the tarantula. Number 3, he ate the oranges. Number 4, he inserted them into some unseemly orifice. Or number 5, he chucked them out the window. Eventually, all of these options, apart from one, was eliminated. The room was completely bare, tarantulas are not partial to oranges, there was no window and no peelings were discovered in the room. In the end, there was no substantial evidence to incriminate Clementine, so the police let him go.
Wayne is 5'8" tall, he's got hazel eyes, kipper lips, and he's got a bad imitation Gaza hairstyle. His nose is like the top half of a Michelin man's head, and...
That should do it.
Oh, all right. Radio, police are interested in seeing this man to help them with their inquiries, and several medical students also wish to examine him, but he hasn't been seen since the incident. Anyway, that's all from me, Nick Cellophane.
And from me, Pete Trout Vienna.
Good afternoon. So how's the psychotherapy going then?
Well, it's not going bad, darling. At least I don't think I'm Elvis anymore.
Oh, sugar plum.